Okay, don't know why that happened. Here we go. Hello again. Welcome back to our Rat Run series. This is a series of something like 20 puzzles. So we finished most, but not all of season one last time. So we're going to do those two. Uh, and then, depending on the mood, we might start off some of season two. Yes, we shall see. There's apparently it has been promised that there will be at least 10 more. But I'm not going to go all the way to the end of season two for a while, but I might start season two today, depending on where we are. Uh, Last night, I will admit, I had a dream that I was very mad at Marty for something that happened in some puzzle that Marty had set that was not a real puzzle, but involved some sort of oblique swordfish on sixes or something, and some sort of otherwise unrelated puzzle chaos construction thingy. So we'll see. We'll see if there's a weird thing with sixes and it was prophetic or not. Uh, Not one but two technical issues. The good, just like the good old days. Okay, so Finks must reach the cupcake. Uh, there we go. By finding a path through the maze. Okay, and so the path mostly moves orthogonally and can't visit things more than once. However, the weird thing about these is the path is allowed to go diagonally as long as there's a completely free 2x2 in which to go diagonally. Uh, so that's the big difference between that and a sort of normal path puzzle. Uh, Entering a yellow teleport will cause Finks to be teleported. Excellent. We have the Blagurans, or Black Currants, or I'm not sure exactly how you want to pronounce that are normal black crappy dots, but they are raisin flavored, and Finks likes the raisin flavors, I believe, is the lore. Oh, that's right. I didn't actually open the lore page that I was supposed to read because I was supposed to read the lore saying, in the Crimson Maze, we introduce cages to test Fink's performance when faced with hazards. Despite Elliot finding it amusing to call them killer cages, I keep reminding myself that the voltage is nowhere near high enough to. The lore reassures us that Finks will be okay. Uh, it seems. Oops. I was trying to move this over to the other monitor so that I could keep track of the lore, but then I accidentally brought up puzzle 10. We're having a great day so far in terms of technical stuff, let me tell you. Uh, let's see. Yeah, why won't it let me? I don't know. Very weird. Uh, okay. Cages. Digits don't repeat in a cage. Every cage has the same total, which is to be deduced. And the digit on a cage's electricity symbol is its shock value. Uh, of uh, I actually think I know the answer, or at least I know the. Selena asks why they're called killer cages. I think the lore reason, or sorry, the thing I have heard at least is that the reason why they're called killer cages is because originally when they appeared in whatever newspaper they appeared in, they were meant to be the killer difficulty version of regular Sudoku, and so the killer is a reference to the supposed difficulty of the constraint. Of course, that was back when people made the distinction between, well, originally all killers had the entire grid covered in cages, and then people started introducing the variant of partial killer, and now you only ever basically see partial killer puzzles. Like, I haven't seen a full killer puzzle in basically my lifetime in the Sudoku community, but that is my understanding anyway. Uh, uh, They're called killer cages because of the incident of 76. We're not allowed to discuss it. Excellent, excellent. Yes, so I should not ruin the surprise. Uh Boy, opera is being weird today, but that's okay. Uh okay. Uh anyway. Uh Any cage with a shock value of 5 or more is switched on, and Finks should not enter those for safety reasons. Cages with a shock value lower than 5 are switched off, and therefore safe to enter. In this experiment, the correct path will be a valid Chinese whisper line. Adjacent digits along the path must differ by at most 2. Okay, so we're going to have to use this sort of color because that's probably the closest. Okay. So immediately I think we can know something about the total by this, which is that the total has to be strictly bigger than 15. Because all the cages have the same sum. And the sum of a box is 45. So this is a sum, and so this is either 3, 6, or 9, by the way. We'll see if my number pad works, or if we're going for number 3 on the list of tech issues. It works. So 3, 6, 9, there we go. Actually, one of the very first puzzles I tried to set, David, was every cage sums to a different prime number to be determined. But anyway, so if you do the math here, the total is 15 plus 1, 2, or 3, based on what this number is. But Emma points out we definitely can't make the total 15 plus 3, because a total of 15 plus 3 would make this number, would make the total 18. 45 plus 9 divided by 3 is 18, which would make this need to be double 9, so that doesn't work. But that means that this cage, its digits are from 7, 8, 9 because it sums to either 16 or 17. In particular, this cage is on, so we cannot allow our poor rat through it. So the rat, we know, has to take this path. And we know that this, I'm just checking to see if this needs to be 5 at most or lower than 5. Yeah, it's lower than 5. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if this was a 1, the absolute maximum that this cage could sum to would be 1, 3, 5, which is nowhere near enough. If this was a 2, 2, 4, 6 is still not enough. 3, 5, 3, 5, 7 would work for this, except it wouldn't for the funny reason. Oh, sorry, we already know the total's not 15. Right, sorry. 3, 5, 7 is not enough because that would only make 15, and we don't actually... yeah, it's not enough because this actually exceeded the box. So, in fact, this has to be a 4. And we can... bring out Zach for our 4 dance. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Yes, the the rare none 1 dance in a rat run puzzle. Okay, so now the most this can be is 4, 6, 8. And 4, 6, 8 is actually, first let me ask, can this really be a 5? Because if this is a 5, the most I can get is 4, 5, 7, which doesn't work because 4, 5, 7... I feel like Tristan's going to come in and adjust the mic soon because I keep going over into the red zone and he doesn't like that. 4, 5, 7 is 16. But if that were the case, then the total wouldn't be 16 because of the 7 repeating. And so the total would then have to be at least 17. So because of the way the digit 7 ends up working, this can't actually be a 5. It has to be a 6. And so then that makes this number a 7 or an 8. And now, do both of these work? If that's a 7, the total being 17 works. If that's an 8, well, then the total is 18, and that doesn't work. So the total is, in fact, 17. And 17. I thought it was going to work both ways, but it turns out no. And so this number here needs to differ by at most 2 from 7, but keep in mind the digits that are left in this box are 1, 2, 3, and 5. So the only available digit that can go there is 5. Oh, also, by the way, this black dot now is forced because this is always going to be as a set of digits 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8. Those are the only sort of 3-cell black dot sequences. And so there's always a 2 on it, which means that this can't have a 2 in it. So these are actually a 1, 3 pair, which actually makes this 2, 4, 8 for sure. This number here doesn't have that many digits it can be. It can, because the Chinese whisper continues. So this is a 2, 3, or 5. It can't be a 6. And by the way, it can't actually be a 5 because you can't put a 5 on a black dot. So this is either, could be, oh, right. It can't be 3, 6 because 3 and 6 is too big of a gap. So this is always a 2, which makes this 1 or 4. Now, if this is 1, it breaks immediately once you look at the top row, because the top row of digits here is 5, 6, 7, and 9 is what's left. And so 1 would be way too far to go to that. So this is always a 4, and then this is a 5 or a 6 only. Okay. This cage is definitely electrocutie, so our rat cannot enter this cage. So our rat has to come this way, down like that, which now tells me that this has to go 5, 3, 1 in order for that to possibly work. Now we can't go to the 8, so we have to go to one of these two in order to make that work. Oh, also, this can't be, while I'm thinking about totals. Remember, the total of this whole cage is 17. So I can't put a 9 in here at all, because if I put a 9 in here, then these are going to sum to either 15, in which case I'd need to make these sum to 2, or 16, in which case I'd need to make these sum to 1, neither of which is possible. So that's 13, and these indeed sum to 4 in order to get my total to 17. Which means that these over here are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This pair is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are an 8, 9 pair. And these are a 1, 3, 5 to finish that off. Okay, so we certainly have to make a diagonal path through here, although I don't think we have any way of knowing which diagonal. But we certainly have to go through this way. In fact, we actually know we have to make it at least this far, which is going to make this have to be a 7. It's the only digit that's close enough to 9. And this now has to be a 5. The only digit that's close enough. Now we can't put 5, 7, or 9 on this black dot, so that's going to be really helpful. We also can't make it 3, 6 because of the 3, 6 down here. Oh, I don't think I said when I said the thing about the teleporters, but the teleporters have the same digit in them, which I don't think is going to be useful at the moment, but will be useful eventually, I suspect. Oh, we know that these are an 8, 9 pair because it's a 2-cell cage, for what it's worth. Oh, also, because the total is 17, we know that this is a 6. I see that people have been telling me for a while. And so now we know a modular arithmetic trick, if you are willing to humor me on a modular arithmetic trick, because this is a multiple of 3, and a black dot always sums to a multiple of 3. Whereas the total of this cage is 17, which is 2 more than a multiple of 3. So this number needs to be 2 more than a multiple of 3, which means it's always 2, 5, or 8. And it's certainly not 5. So 6 and 2, does that really work? That would be 8. I would need these to sum to 9. That doesn't work because they would need to be 3, 6, right? Right, yeah. So if this is 6 and 2, I would need these to be 3, 6. That doesn't work. So this is actually 6 and 8. And the sum of these two digits needs to be 3, so they need to be 1 and 2 in order to fill this out. And so 1, 2, 3, 4. So this, remember, is a 3 or a 4. Oh, also that 8 looks over here. That is a 9 and an 8. Over here. So we've got all of that. We do know we can't go through this cage, because if we go through this cage, we now have to go from this across this gap, which will hurt poor Finks, so we do not want that. I know one of these is a 3 or a 4. I don't quite know what to do with that yet, but I do know that this black dot is 1, 2, because conveniently there's a 3, 4 pair in the box, and so these can only be 1, 2. And so 1 doesn't actually work, because if this were 1, then I would need these to sum to 16, but they can only do that as 7, 9. So actually this is 2 and 1, which means these sum to 15. And as a sum to 15 that doesn't have a 7 in it, they have to be 6, 9. Which does mean that Finks has to use the teleporter, because we can't go from we can't go through this cage. So we know Finks has to go there, and Finks can't get to the teleporter through this cage, because as we already mentioned, this cage is electrified. So that is a 3 and a 1 and a 6 and a 2. This puzzle is obscenely smooth. Okay. So this can only be a 5, actually, because if you look at it, it needs to be at most 2 away from 4. All the numbers less than 4 are gone, and so the only number that's actually left is a 5. There are no others, so these are 7, 8, and 9. That seems not to be an 8. Okay, so this 5 is definitely connecting to a 7, I believe. Oh, Todd is pointing out we can do math, which I probably would not have done for a long time. But we know that this sums to 17, 20, 22, 30, 35, 36. And so therefore this digit is a 9. Over here. Now the 5, if you look at it, can only connect to this cell. And so it connects to that cell as a 7, not as an 8. And so now this can only connect up that way. And so, or diagonally, sorry, there's a diagonal possibility here. Sorry, this is our first chance for me to forget about diagonals as a possibility. But I will go ahead and fill in what's in this cage. 4, 6, 7. Yep, that works. And these are 3, 5, and 9. Okay, and this is not pathable because there's nothing that can go next to a 9. The 3 and the 5 are too far apart. So we have to have Finks go through here. And now I feel like this puzzle is going very smoothly. I have no idea how we're going to disambiguate this, by the way. But this is going to be a 7. because it needs to connect to the 9, and this is going to be a 6 and a 4 over there to make that work. Oh, that's right. Okay, let's see. Okay, I should probably fill in... Should I fill in this column is, I guess, a reasonable question. Is it worth it? I'm not sure yet. I might as well, though, fill in that I know that Finks goes this way. Okay, and once I know that, then I should fill in the column. Because we still have a 1. We've got a 2. The other 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8 left. Okay, that's not a 4. That's not an 8. Okay, this certainly isn't an 8 either, because if this were an 8, it would be too big. So therefore that is an 8, which gives me a 7 and an 8 here. Okay, I see how this works now. Because 8 can't connect to 5. So the 5 can only actually connect to the 7, which forces this zigzag. I was curious how we were possibly going to distinguish between zigzagging to the 7 and the other way, just sort of a uniqueness concern. But I see it now. Okay. This digit cannot be a 1 for a sort of silly reason, which is that if this is a 1, what would this be? And the answer is nothing, because if this is a 1, then that makes this a 3, because 1 and 4 aren't close enough. And now this would need to be a 2, except that breaks this cell. And so this isn't a 1, it's a 3, which lets me fill in those cells. That is a 1, that is a 3. Okay, and so now this cell can be a 1 or a 2 or a 5. Oh, it's not a 1, though. Yeah, basically I was just saying I had a uniqueness concern, which meant there was a uniqueness deduction to be had, but I wasn't really hunting it, but I was sort of in my head playing out, yeah, if they went the other way, it would not work. Okay, so we've got this, and we don't know that this doesn't connect diagonally, and it probably does connect diagonally based on current record. I'm just going to fill in the rest of this column. We know that this is a 3, 6 black dot is a worthwhile point because we've used 2, 4, and 8. Technically, you only need to use that you've used 2 and 4, so that lets us fill in all of that. And this black dot, while we're at it, is from 2, 4, 8 only. And if you look at it, this cell is a 2, and that is a 4. Okay, and so that is a 5, interestingly enough, which makes that a 9. Hey, Laura, how are you doing? Let's see. This row is very interesting, just in terms of the fact that it's only got a couple digits left, and then 2 of those are in lightning bolts. 1, 2, 5. Okay. I guess we could do math here if we really wanted to, which I mean, I'll be honest, I don't really want to, but I'm going to anyway. Because we know this box sums to 45, so if I deselect these, then that's 39, 30, 22 is the sum of these cells. And we know these 2 cages in total sum to 34, which means that the outies must make up the difference, which means this has to be a 6. If I did that math correctly. Chat can double check if I did this math correctly. Which means that these are a 7, 8, 9 triple. And so that is an 8, which makes that a 9 and an 8, makes that a 7 and a 9. And so now the 5 can only connect to the 7, as predicted. It has to go diagonally. We cannot go into this cage because this cage is electrified. So in particular, we definitely can't get out that way or go up here or anything like that. So we have to go from the 7 to the 6. Oh, Emily did it as a naked single. That sounds so much better. And so now... now we have to go diagonally because this 6 can't connect to this lightning bolt because we know this lightning bolt now isn't a 5 because Finks has entered the cage and we cannot damage Finks. So psychologically or otherwise. And so we have to step here to avoid that. Okay, and so now, let's see, we actually know what these 2 digits are. Just by, let's see, they seem to be a 3, which goes here, and a 7, which goes there, which means that these are a 1-2 pair, and this cell is something else. There we go. Okay. This cell is the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This cell's a 5. There we go. Okay. And so now we have to get out this exit is the only way out because we can't go through this cage. And so if we're getting out through here, it has to be through those cells. And so if we look backwards, this can't connect to the 7. That won't work. Did I make a mistake? Why not 2, 3, 5? Oh, it can't go through here. Where is the other exit? Oh, right. Sorry. Right. It can't go through here. I can even see. There's just an exit down here. My brain did not process that there was an exit down here. I just knew we had to get out of this box, and I saw that we'd come in through this way and couldn't go out that way, and I thought that was enough. But you're right. I definitely can't go this way. So I have to go out this way. And the 5 doesn't connect to a 1 or 2, so it has to connect to the 3. Which is going to connect back here. How do I not have a uniqueness problem here again? Oh, I'm going to have to... Okay, I see. We're going to have the same issue. That's going to have to be a 1 to force this to not be a uniqueness problem. Okay, but I don't need to think about that. I just need to make sure I haven't broken the puzzle. That's a 1 just by the column. And that is a 7 by the column. These are a pair of 8 and 9. Which means my path had better not come here, because if my path comes here, then it's going to keep going, and I'm going to need to connect this 8, 9 to something, but it's a problem because these are only from 1, 2, 4, 5. So I can't go that way, because there's definitely not a connection there, is what I'm saying. So we go this way, which makes that a 4. Like that. Okay, and so now, oh, what is across this row? 1, 2, 3, 5, and something. Oh, no, it's just 1, 2, 3, 5, right? These aren't 1. I'm being told there is something in row 4. Oh, sorry, I can just actually fill that in. That's probably much nicer. Okay, now I can fill in row 4, which are 6 and 7, which gives us a 6-7 deadly pattern, which will get sorted out by the path. Let's see. Oh, I can do the math again to figure out the sum of these two digits. So this is 45, 35 if I take off those, 27 if I take off that. And so 34 minus 27 sounds like 7, so I need these to be 2, 5, making that a 1 and a 2, which does indeed force that connection, as foretold by the thinking about uniqueness earlier. There we go. Okay, so these sum to 7, so therefore I need these two to sum to 10. They cannot be 3, 7 because the 7 in the column is gone. Because the 3 in the column is gone. So they have to be 6 and 4, making that a 7, a 6, and a 7. Okay. This digit is also a 3 or a 5 for whatever it is worth. I can't connect from here to here, so I have to connect either... Oh, I can't connect from here to here either, because if I connect from here to here, it makes this digit a 5. So I have to come from here to here. And so... No? Oh, 4 does connect to 2. You're right. 4 does connect to 2. Okay, well, here's the easier problem. I just can't go through this cage, because if I go through this cage, then I have to go from a 5 to a 7. So I have to go through this cage instead. And so that is going to sort out my 8 and my 9. It is going to make that a 2. And so the 4 now has to get to this 2 in some way, and it can't get there through the 5. Or I guess maybe the better way to say it is the 2 has to connect somewhere, and the only place it can connect is the 4. And so that, I think, finishes the puzzle, which is very nice. And I have to read this because otherwise chat will be upset. My concerns about the ethics of this experiment were perhaps a little unwarranted. Finks remained as focused and determined as ever. If anything, she appeared to relish the challenge of determining which cages were safe to enter. I now feel much more at ease about how she'll cope with next week's sensory deprivation experiment. Oh, the path probably needs one more cell in it. Haha. That was really nice, actually. That was at a level of smoothness that none of the previous puzzles in this series have hit. So that I really enjoyed that one. That was there. It also happened to be, I think, the easiest of the lot of puzzles by quite a bit. Just probably because of how the combination worked, but it was a really nice combination, and I liked this idea. Like, I think there's probably a lot of leverage to get out of these. What my brain kind of goes to is wanting to have a puzzle like this where there's cages, and the cages have 2 totals, one of the totals of which is safe and the other is unsafe, and you have to determine for each cage which is which. I think that sounds like it would be an interesting rule idea that one could take as a twist. But I really liked this combination. Everything here worked really well for me. Alrighty. Plonk Time says this is the best one from season 1. I would definitely believe that. Yeah, I mean, if you're making a puzzle under time pressure, you should definitely... Oh, right, sorry, I should finish this box. If you're making a puzzle under time pressure, you should definitely make an easy puzzle and not a hard one. I did not do well at completing the path. Thank you, Egon and David, for that. Okay, let us jump in to 10. Sorry, let me attempt to see if I can get up the lore for 10. To conclude phase 1, we will be using Elliot's fog machine to test Fink's ability to navigate the maze with obscured vision. 2 months ago, I would have thought this ridiculous thing to even attempt, but after everything this rat has, dot, dot, dot. So Finks must reach the cupcake by finding a path through the maze. The path must not visit any cell more than once, usual path stuff. The maze has been filled with fog. When correct digits are entered, nearby fog will clear. No guessing is required. We have our black currants, as always. We have motion sensors. The digit on a pink motion sensor indicates how many of the up to 9 cells immediately surrounding the sensor are visited by Finks, i.e. any cell neighboring the cell as well as the sensor cell itself are counted. Cages, digits don't repeat within a cage. Each cage has an electricity symbol. Okay, so we have the shock value idea again, which is very cool. Although it doesn't seem to say that all cages have the same sum this time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I really don't see that. I think we just have cages with a random electricity symbol in them somewhere. Oh, I see. Sorry. The value of the cages is then described in the next one. The first cage that Finks enters can have any total, and after that, each subsequent cage she enters must have a total exactly 1 greater than the previous cage. Cages not entered by Finks can have any total. Okay, yeah. Alrighty. So, it's interesting that we don't get to know where Finks starts. But assuredly, this cell is sort of naively, it's at most 4. However, 1 would not work because 1 would mean this is the only cell visited in this. Or sorry, 1 would mean only one of these cells was visited. Is that a problem? It would be that one. Yeah, that doesn't work. Because basically the thing is, if this cell is visited, so is this one. And if this cell is visited, so is this one. And so basically, we either visit this pair, and in fact, actually the same is true of these. So basically, either all 4 of these are visited or none of them are. That's that is the point. Once you appreciate the wall that I had not seen, I've sometimes complained about this element of fog puzzles, like am I really supposed to squint and see if I can see a wall here? That's like my least favorite part of fog puzzles. But basically the point is that this digit's either a 4 or a 0 once you exploit that, which feels like cheating, but I'm sure is intentional here. So it better be a 4 if it's a 4 or a 0. So apparently today's theme is rat run puzzles where the 4 is the first digit. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So the path is forced to continue up here and forced to continue up here, which makes this digit a 6 for sure. Oh, Tristan can put a puzzle link in the chat. There were a bunch of technical difficulties at the beginning of the stream, which is why there was not a link in chat yet. Okay, this cage we had better turn this way. Because otherwise we turn this way owing to that wall, and if we turn this way, we've created a mini loop, and we don't want to create a mini loop. This digit is at least 4 and at most 6, and the only such digit available is a 5. This digit is assuredly a 7 or an 8. This digit is at least 4, just because of the digits it already sees, but you see that of numbers that are at least 4, 4, 5, and 6 are gone. So this is a 7, 8, or a 9 over here. Let's see. Uh, all right, this 5 means these aren't both visited, is the point I'm supposed to see. Sorry, I had missed that this 5 was still communicating me information. It's communicating to me that one of these two is not visited, and so therefore this isn't a 9. Oops, sorry. This is not a 9. So these are actually a 7, 8 pair. Oh, and this cell just can't be visited now. Because if this cell was visited, this is much easier than the convoluted way I explained that. If this cell was visited, then it would be a corner and we wouldn't visit 5 cells. So this cell is assuredly unvisited. And so we have that. However, the 5 still needs one more, and so this cell is visited, which means it has to look like that. Which means that this is an 8 and this is a 7. And so these we know are from just 1, 2, 3, and 9. Okay, and this one isn't a 9. I'll give you 2 different proofs of that, or allow you to supply 2 different proofs of your own. How about? That this is not a 9. This probably is going to have to be a 9, or my total of cages is going to be really, really low. Although I guess we know that they sort of... Oh, actually, sorry, this is a corner now. So we actually know that our rat continues through here. Yep, and that is indeed 7. Okay, so this is a 1, 2, or 3 again. This needs to go up through here. Okay. This digit is certainly a black dot digit at the very least. Let's see. Oh, and these two need to have consecutive totals, is the point, because these two things are next to each other. And so if one of them has a 9, they both have a 9. Because we could, for example, have a 9 with a 1 and a 9 with a 2. Those would be consecutive. Oh, except the 9s are in the same box. Right. The 9s would be in the same box. Thank you. So yes. So if either has a 9, they both have to have a 9 because they're consecutive. But them both having a 9 does not work. So therefore, this is a 9. This number here is at least 4. And I know it's at least 4 because even though it presently only sees 3 cells, I need to take at least one more to get out of range of this motion sensor. But it can't be 4, so it's 5 or 6. In fact, it just is 5, actually. And this we know is 1, 2, or 3. Okay. And so now the total of this cage, which is a minimum of 6, is consecutive with the total of this cage, which is a maximum of 5. And so 5 and 6 are indeed the totals for those cages. And so we go 6, 5, which means now this cage had better sum to 4 over here. Okay, and so that means, and also this is a 1 because of the 2, 3. So that's a 3. We can follow this wall up here. So this number here is at least 5. And I think it could be a 5. It can't be 6, 7, or 8. So it's only 5 or 9, I believe. Yeah, we can certainly fill in 1, 4, 6 in this cell. Like that. This, oh, right. There's a, yeah, this is one of those instances where it's like, it could easily be 9. because I wasn't appreciating the half the wall that you can see over here. So the point is, this is a dead end, although, again, to me, it's not really visible, but it is a dead end. And so, therefore, it's not visitable, or it's not visitable. And so this can't be 9. I am very glad that chat was there to point that out, because I think that would have taken me approximately forever to see. There's already 5 cells in this box visited, so therefore none of these others are visited, and we must escape upward. Okay, this is assuredly from 1, 2, 4, 8, because there's already a 3, 6. That one's not an 8. This one's not a 2, so this one's not a 1. So this is a 2 or a 4. So 4 would be 4, 1, 2, sure. Let's see. Okay. Oh, this is on a sensor. Good point. Yes, the sensor is certainly not a 1, and it's certainly not an 8 either. This sensor just has to be 4. There's no other options for it. Because 8 would require I not have 2 X's on it, and 1 would require, well, you just can't put a 1 on a sensor. Actually, technically you could. You can't put a 1 on this sensor, because it already sees at least 3 things. So that's a 4, that's a 2. So that means that that's not a 4, so it is a 1 or a 6. Okay, and so this cage is the one whose total is 3. We know, just by continuing. It happens to be a 1-cell cage. Okay, we again know that this is 1, 2, 4, 8, and this is 1, 2. Oh, okay, so these are a 1, 2, 4, 8 quadruple. It is actually worth marking, because neither of these can have a 3 on them. Which means that these are from 5, 7, 9, and 6. Those aren't 5. One of these two is 5 for whatever it is worth. Let's see. This cage would need to sum to 7 if I went into it. Do I know that this cage can't sum to 7? It would have to be 1, and these would be a 2, 4 pair. That actually seems more likely to me, I guess, than not. This number is assuredly a minimum of 3, for what it is worth. Okay, well, assuredly, here's what I'm certain of. This cage doesn't have a total of 2. And if I have Finks go here, Finks is going to be forced into a cage of total 2. So we're not going to do that. So the path is going to continue upward like that. This is not a 1 and it's not a 2. So this is a 4 or an 8 now. And I know that because of how these 2 black dots are set up, one of them has to have a 1 on it. And it's not this one anymore. So that means that these are a 1, 2. These are a 4, 8. In order to make that work. Now we've got this. Okay. Sorry, let me think about this for a second. 4 seems very plausible. Oh, okay, here's a much easier point Laura has. 1, 2 pair looks down, making that a 6 and a 3 and a 2. Giving me, there's also a 6 in this column, although I guess that's not super useful. Is this a naked single now? It's not 1, 2, 3. It could be 4. It's not 5. Oh, it can't be 4. It's not 5, 6, 7, or 8. Yes, this is a 9, making that a 7. Making those a 5, 6, 9. And now in this box, I have a 1, which has to go here just by Sudoku. And then I have a 7 and an 8, which go in that order by Sudoku because of the 4, 8 pair. Okay. let's see. So what else have we here? Right. Okay, yeah. So this cell is just a dead end if you keep in mind this X is what Jim is saying. And so if you keep that in mind, then this can't possibly be a 9. Oops, can't possibly be a 9, so it's a 5 or a 6. Now, this could only be 8 if every other cell was visited, which would involve that and that. I see. This cell isn't visited because we'd visit the same cage twice. And a cage total is not consecutive with itself, is the desired deduction, I believe. So this is unvisited, and now I've shown you 2 cells that aren't visited. So that is a 4, and that is an 8. We have discovered the starting location of Ms. Sphinx. And so, again, we cannot have... Oh, sorry, this is the end. I was going to say, and therefore it continues up this, because it can't go that... But no, we don't continue anywhere. That's the whole point. Also, this is a 6, because it's on a black dot. And that's how black dots work. Which makes this a 3, because that's how black dots work. Which makes these a 7 and a 1, I think. Okay, this 5... Okay, so this 5 tells me this cell is unvisited, because if this cell were visited, all 3 of those would be, and that would be too many, which means this cell's also unvisited. So this cage is definitely visited, which means that this is a 1, 2, or 3. Also, this cell is definitely visited if you look off the edge of the fog, because these 2 are either both visited... sorry, if I visit this one, I definitely visit this one, and if I visit this one, I definitely visit this one. But I can't visit both of those 2 because I always end up visiting this one, so I actually know the path includes that snippet. I should probably fill in these digits because it's relevant for this cell, so we've... Sorry. I spoiled for myself that one of those digits is a 2 by accident. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Okay, well, we already know this one's definitely not a 9. If it's a 2... Oh, sorry. We don't get to continue. Right. This is not a... there's no more additional continuation of this. I can fill in these digits, though. They're not 1, 2, 3. It could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so this cage... Well, there's no way this... Oh, maybe there is a way this cage isn't visited, because I don't really know what's happening up here. Yet. Okay, what about this cell? So currently this cell... Hey, Blackjack Fitz, how are you doing? If I just look at what it can be, it can't be 1 or 2. I think it can be 3, although it's going to have to be a very specific 3. It can't be 4 or 5. And then it could theoretically be 6, 7, or 9, although it's going to be awfully hard for it to be 9, but maybe not impossible. Because this I still think could be 2 or 3. Based on what we know. Oh yeah, 9 would break the 5, right? We do know the 5 tells me... right. Okay, yeah, the 5 tells me that I am visiting all but one of these cells. And the one I'm not visiting can't be that one. Because if I don't visit that one, this becomes a dead end. So this one's definitely visited. And And likewise, if I don't visit this one, this becomes a dead end. So, oh, sorry, no, that's not included in the 5. Let me carefully think through the 5. So I think I could do that or that. I think are both presently. This one comes with these 3 all together because of it being a corridor. Oh, but sorry, this one's not in there. I keep trying to count this, and it is not counted. Should not be counted. So the point is, if I go through the 1, I actually end up at 6. Because if I go through the 1, by my argument, I have to take this cell. And that's not going to work because then I'm going to end up cornering it through there. So if I take the 1, the point is that this comes with this. And so if I take the 1, I then end up at 6 and not 5. So I don't take the 1. And it's now a dead end. So it's not just that I can't go to the 1. The 1's actually untaken. And now the 5 means I have to go this way and this way. Oops. Which now tells me that this thing is not a 3. And it's definitely not a 9, as Emma pointed out, because if it was a 9, it would say I visit all of these cells, which I don't. But it is a 6 or a 7, and now I visited this cage, so now this is a 2 or a 4, just to make this work. And oh, right, sorry, this is a 7 cage, because I've actually connected to it directly, so we actually get to use the fact that it's 1, 2, 4. And we actually know where every digit in it goes, making that over there a 3 and that up there a 2. Okay, we will become trapped if we go this way, so let's not go that way. Or Finks will return to her starting point, which she is not supposed to. So we go that way. And now we always visit this cell for what it's worth, because this cell's now just unvisitable. So this cell's always visited, because if it's not, then that's not, and this total would be a 5. Doesn't mean it's visited from there, just means it's visited. Let's see. What is left? Oh, actually, sorry. That cell is a 6 by Sudoku. Just looking at it. Oh, right. Sorry. We could actually, sorry. Selena is correct. I could, so this is a 6 just by Sudoku, but I could actually bounce through and visit just this corner because I don't have a problem above here. Okay, so these numbers are 3, 4, no, not 4, 3, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so apparently in that universe, this is a naked 9. These are a 3, 7 pair, and so that is an 8. Yes. If I go up, this cage has a total of 8, and that makes this a 4 because I entered the cage, so this would be a 4-4 sum, which would be problematic, some are saying. Okay, and so now I have, though, visited my requisite 6 cells in this box, and so I must leave, although I don't know if I leave diagonally or not. Which I guess means I must leave diagonally. How are we ever going to decide that? I don't actually know now that I look at it. Because I'm always going to end up here. And because of the wall, once I end up there, I'm always going to end up taking this path up. Oh, it's going to be what digit is here. That's the point. There's going to be a cage up there, but I can't resolve it for now, I don't think. Okay. So, Right. So if I go there, it's going to be a cage summing to 8. Yeah, we could fill in the column 1 digits, I suppose. Okay, I'm definitely going into this cage. There's no way, because again, I either go diagonally or I don't go diagonally. It doesn't really matter, but I have to get in this cage because I'm going to end up in there anyway. And so the digits left in this column are a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's it. So if this is a 3, it just makes it impossible that this cage sums to 8. Because there's no way that I can make this a 3-cell cage that doesn't involve this cell being in a cage, which I know it's not. So this can't actually be a 3, it's a 7. Okay, so that is a 1 because I need the total to be 8. Okay, this can't be a 2 because this needs to continue. That's how we do it. Okay, I wasn't thinking about the sensor part. That's the point. So now if I go up here, I'm immediately boned. So I have to go down here. That's already 3, so that means all of these are not visited. Uh-oh. How did I break it? I screwed. Oh, it's because the diagonal. It's because of the diagonal. Yeah. Yes. Diagonals. Right. This does need to get out. It can't get out that way or that way, which means it has to get out that way. That's the point. And then none of these others are visited. And now... But I still don't actually understand how am I ever going to decide whether it goes diagonally here or not. I must be missing something. Oh, by this count, right. That count, right. Right. We actually, okay, I did that way more complicatedly than I had to because I never actually X'd this cell when I filled in the last cell of the 6. This whole area would have been way easier if I had done that appropriately. Anyway, this is at most a 4, and so by Sudoku it's a 4, which means that this cell is visited, and this cell is visited, and if I look at what happens to this cell when it's visited, it can only do that. I just have to make sure I look at it from the point of view of the right cell. So now this cage is visited, and so that's a 4. And so this cell, therefore, is a 5 because the sum is 9. These are 6, 7, 8, 9, I think. And these aren't 6, 8. Oops. These aren't 6, 8. These aren't 7, 9. Oh, this is just a corner. Okay, so the next total is 10. Okay, well, this is not a 2 anymore. So this is certainly a 6, which means that we don't visit this cage. And so we must come up here. So that is now a 9. That is a 2. So we could do a 9, 1, or we could do a 2, 1, 7. That is funny. Both of those being possible, I mean. I wasn't right about this cell not being visitable. That cell could still be visited. It just can't be the next cage. But this could be the 11 cage, for example. There are only 6 for this 6 to C, Emma points out. And so that means visiting the 2, which is a corridor. And so now I need this to be a 1, and so that's a 7. Hey, Nordy, how are you doing? This one's Nordy's favorite, apparently. Okay, so that's 9, so we go there. That's a 7. We have to go through here. Okay, so if we go through here, this is a 2. And then I have to make this sum to 12, and I don't know if I want to do the math on that yet. Okay, so Carl is pointing out that there's a sensor here, and we know which way this goes, because if I visit that these two come together, and if I visit either of these, it screws up this 4. And so actually this is a corner, just straight up. And so we actually know, we actually get this whole bit over here. And now, again, that actually forces all of that. So we get a giant amount from that. Okay, good to know. And so that 7 has filled in the 9 and the 7 over here. For what it is worth. This 5, oh yeah, sorry, this has now just become a corner. So we actually know now we run up here. Right, and so we actually are forced through here. So that actually does make this a 2. Oh, we don't know how far the lines go. Yeah, so I everything in here was right, but I don't know that it doesn't stop like somewhere in here, right? No? Was that all wrong? Okay, well, this part is still right, at the very least. And this continues up. Okay, so it didn't actually impact anything. Okay, so this is a 2. And now this cage needs to sum to 12, which means these two need to sum to 9. So I think they could be 1, 8. They can't be 2, 7, or 3, 6. And they can't be 4, 5. So they have to be 1, 8 in this order. Is the only acceptable thing to do. So I really don't think either of these can be the end. But I guess that could be the end if we wrap up like that, I guess. Okay, we know we have to come up to this sensor at least a little bit. This is certainly at most 6. It's not a 2 or a 4. This cell we actually know is unvisited because it would be a dead end. So therefore we know this is not a 6. 1 is going to be off. Oh no, 1 would be quite easy actually. 1 would just mean I just don't visit any of this at all, which is okay. Oh, this still resolves, sorry. People made me rewind filling that in. I do know one of these two is an 8, just by Zach Wing. Over here. Maybe I should fill in these digits over here. Let's use mark to do that. Okay, so this digit is apparently a naked 4. Okay, and so this total has to be at least as big as 13, which annoyingly is what it will total if I do that. Yeah, there's no cupcake here, so this has to continue. Over there, and there's no cupcake there. So the cupcake has to be here is the point. Because if this is not the cupcake, then we have problems. Okay. So this is either going to total to 13 or 14, annoyingly. Let us figure out where the 6 and 9 in this column go. Namely, this cell can't be 6 or 9. So this cell is 6 or 9, and it's a 6, and that's a 9. Make that an 8 and a 6. Okay, so now if I make this a 3, the total is 16, which means I absolutely have to have like way more cages than I can possibly fit in the fog, I think. Maybe that's not technically true. Maybe I could just barely actually fit them in. But 8, David pointing out that this is a naked single, which is why I originally filled in the 6 and 9 and then completely forgot. It is a 5, I believe. Let's see. These are not 9. Zetamath doing puzzles indeed. 7, 8. Okay, let's see. Let's fill in these. This isn't a 5, so it's either a 1 or a 3. So that tells me that these are not visited. Okay, I guess I probably do have to actually fill these in. Marty isn't really going to make me figure out whether I could actually cram enough cages in here to make this total more, is he? He might be about to make me do that. Because I would have to, what would I have to do next? Currently, I'm at 12. Okay, Marty confirms I don't have to do that. Okay, thank God. I was like, I'm gonna have to like hunt this column and make sure it is not possible to get to 13 somehow. Let's see. Because I suspect the answer is that there aren't any hidden cages, but I don't know that there aren't 2 hidden cages. And so there's either 0 hidden cages or 2 hidden cages. Or the rules tell me what the total of the last cage is and I just forgot. All of these are possible. Oh, it's because of the way this 1-3 pair interacts is actually the point. I think. Because these two things are related. So if this is a 1, then it's saying there are no cages, but I do visit up here. If this is a 3, it's saying there are bonus cages, but I don't visit up here. And if I don't visit up there, I cannot possibly fit in enough cages. So that I think does it. So this being a 3 doesn't work. Oh, did I not do this correctly? This is 12. Oh, okay, there's at least 1 more cage. But if this were a 3, there would be 3 more cages, except that I wouldn't be able to visit any of this. So this has to be a 1, and this has to be a 3, and so that means we do visit all of this stuff up here, like that. So can fill in this 1 and this 3. So yeah, so now there has to be a 13 cage hidden in the fog. How are we deciding whether we do that or not? I don't understand. A sensor. There's got to be a sensor. Right. Hidden sensor. Okay, so there's a cage in here that sums to 13 and contains a 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it could be a 3-cell cage, although if it's a 3-cell cage, we're getting tight. For sure. I'm trying to find the clever way to do this. It's possible I'm just supposed to just randomly try stuff and see what works. Because it doesn't feel to me like there's a clever way to do this, but maybe I'm wrong. Like, it sort of feels to me like what I'm supposed to do is just plug in a random number and see if that leads to there being a 7 or a 13 cage or not. Like, uh, I mean, that's exactly the kind of argument that I'm trying to make or trying to avoid making, Emma, because that's pretty horrible. As endings go. Like I checked every possible 2 and 3 cell combination using these numbers for 13 cells, and all of them involve a 4. I'd rather not do that if possible. So I guess the cleanest path that gets to that argument is that the low digit is either a 2 or a 4. And if the low digit is a 2, then we need to have a 2-cell sum to 11, because the 2 can't show up in the flag next. Oh, sorry, the 2 can show up next to a 9. Sorry, we're not summing to 11, we're summing to 13. So we need a 2 plus a 2-cell sum to 11 in that hypothetical. And the 2-cell sum to 11 can't, of course, be 2, 9. It can't be 3, 8. It could be 4, 7 or 5, 6. And so then we have to argue that you can't do 2, 5, 6 because it would break the cupcake. I think is the point. Ugh. That is horrendous. Because the only reason 256 doesn't work is because it breaks the cupcake. There's also nowhere to put 256, but again, that's just like, that's a cases, like these cases have cases kind of proof. But anyway, the point is that if you do brutal exhaustion, you get to the fact that you can't make this a 4. Because if you make this a 4, nothing works. So that is a 5, which makes that a 4, a 5, and a 4. We need this to sum to 13, so that's a 9 and an 8. 7, 9. As foretold, we have a sensor here. I liked the uniqueness proof better. The sensor here can't possibly be 2, so it has to be 6, which means we have to do that in order to do it. Okay, I loved that one except for the ending. I really hated the ending. But you just don't case check. That's when you case check. You just don't, unless there are like 2 or fewer things left. Oops, cancel. Sorry, how do I do this? I hit check. There we go. Phase 1 of the rat run study is now complete. Over these first 10 experiments, Finks has continued to surprise us at every turn with what she is capable of. Results will be analyzed, and further calibration of the equipment will take place before phase 2 commences in the autumn. Excellent. Okay. Well, I've really enjoyed these niggles about what is and isn't acceptable case checking left, but there we invent a case checking rule. There are very few very specific case checking things at the very ends of like Japanese sums puzzles that I like. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break and I will come back with part 1 of season 2. So see everyone in just a moment. All right, welcome back. I was thinking about this more while I was getting my tea. I think that the reason why I object to this more is that it involves arithmetic. And so, like, I was thinking, like, a lot of pencil puzzles have sort of a case checking ending like this, and it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, it admittedly used to. I think it's probably just my general aversion to doing killer calculations in my head. But I do agree that if you phrase the question to yourself as, is it possible that there is no 4 in the fog, then it actually is not too bad if you're willing to sort of say, okay, if it's a 2, then I'm looking for a 2 cell sum to 11. It's the sort of like that case has a subcase part that sort of triggers me a little bit, but it's really not too bad with this being a 256. Like, you don't actually have to exhaust every 2 and 3 cell sum to 13 to do it. Okay. Let us have a look at this one, which I'm assured is weird, but I have to read the lore first. Oops, after I figure it out. Sorry, here we go. While Sphinx seemed to enjoy the 2-month break, I have a feeling that she has been missing the challenge that the experiments provide, and will be glad to begin phase 2. Meanwhile, Elliot has been carrying out essential maintenance work on the thing. We clearly are going to have Elliot be the main villain of this story once we get to the nuclear weaponry that we foreshadowed last time. Let's see. So now Finks must reach the cupcake by finding a path through the maze. Okay, so same path rules. Teleporters. The key thing to remember about the teleporters is they have to have the same digit in addition to teleporting Finks. Red currents. They always sit between an even digit and an odd digit. Oh, is this going to be a parity line? No. Any cell in the path equals the digit at the top of its column plus the digit at the left-hand end of its row. Oh, Lord, this is the weirdest rule I've ever seen. Okay. And different colored teleporters need different digits. Thank you for the reminder of that. I would not have remembered that from last time. I do have an adorable rat on my shoulder that I've had for many years. I think I got her in 2005, if I recall correctly, somewhere around there. My desire to fill in a 2-4 in this cell is very strong. Let's see. Okay, so to wrap my head around this. So this is saying equals the digit at the top of its column plus the digit the left-hand end of its row. So this digit is not a 9. And I guess that just means you just can't visit anything on the... Sorry, you can't visit anything in this row or column, right? Unless you put a 0 somewhere. And I can't even, like, visit this by coming out of the teleporter, right? I just literally can't visit it, right? I think I literally can't visit it. Because it would not be true, or it wouldn't work out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't have a standard color for this kind of line, so is this a line that, or is this a standard line? Is there a standard color for this? Okay. So we can at least do all that, which then means this and this are also unvisited by virtue of that, which means that regardless of whether we go this way or this way, we have to get out this way, which means that this digit is probably a 1. It's certainly not bigger than 2. Because we need to be able to add it to 7 different digits without exceeding 9. And as Emma points out, the same is true of this cell by the row. So these are actually a 1-2 pair. For sure. I probably should have made these X's a little less oppressive. I'm going to go back and make the X's a little less oppressive. Okay, and we've got some bilocal 9s that I don't know if are going to be very helpful. because of the fact that you can't put a 9 in any of these cells or in any of these cells. And I notice one of those cells is a teleporter. So to avoid doing the addition as long as possible, I probably should mark that I know these cells aren't 9. And in fact, actually, the same is true of all of these cells. And I actually know these aren't 1 or 2. But chat would like to point out to me that 1 plus 2 is 3, and therefore we can fill in a 3 in this cell, which I suppose I believe. And I can bring out Zach to do the 3 dance. Ba-boop-a-doop, woo! Ba-doop-a-doop, wah! Ba-doop-a-doop, wee! Ba-doop, boo-doop, 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 wah! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So yeah, so this digit is even by the red dot. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and it's not a 2 for what it's worth. So this digit isn't an 8, I suppose, is the conclusion that I can come to from that. Okay. If this cell is visited, it can only be a 9. I am noticing because of the fact that these digits are a minimum of 4, 5. Is there a reason why that should immediately break in my brain? I don't know. I kind of like it, I guess. Oh, right. This digit can't be a 4 because that would make this digit too big. So this is certainly a 6 or 8. I'm being told the parity of this dot is interesting. Yes, it is interesting. Because we're saying that these two cells have different parities, which means that these two cells, which means that this digit has to have odd parity. Because if this digit is even, then it means that these two would have the same parity. So actually, that's the 1 and that's the 2, is what Josh is pointing out, which is very wise. I felt like that was harder for me to articulate than it should have been. That means that this cell is now unvisitable because of that. That's a very nice clue. I like that a lot. Zeta approved clue for sure. Okay. Oh, here's a disgusting thing. I was saying if this is visited, then it's a 9, but it can't be because it breaks the portal rule. Because if A is visited, it's a 9. And then where does the 9 go in column 1? It goes in E. But A and E can't both be 9 because it breaks the rules and breaks Sudoku. So this cell is not, in fact, visited by the mouse. And so this cell is not, in fact, visited by the mouse. Okay, so that is far sneakier than the understanding how evens and odds work. So this is unvisited, although it's probably unnecessary, but who knows. I really thought it was going to be, because I thought that was how we were going to get a bunch of digits going. But apparently we are not getting a bunch of digits going yet. I do know that this is now 4 or 6 for whatever it's worth. Mekti points out that now I know where 2 goes in row 1, because if I put 2 in any of these cells, I put a second 3 in the row. That is a very good point. And so now where does the 9 in that row go? Now it goes there. Okay. What? 2 plus 2 isn't 4? Oh, 2 plus 2 isn't 4. Or sorry, is 4. Sorry, 2 plus 2 is fine. Never mind, sorry. 2 plus 2 is not 3. Fun fact. Uh, where is 1 in row 2, though, is an interesting question. Because it can't go in any of these without a -1 going somewhere. So this digit's definitely a 1. Uh, yeah, so there is a 4 down here somewhere. Uh, let's see. Yeah, we know we don't go through there, so we definitely go through there. This cell we know is living there. It's the sum of those two. Uh, oh, right. We can't put 8s in any of these cells anymore, Todd points out, because they're getting added with 2. So these are, in fact, an 8-9 pair. That I agree with. Uh, uh, okay, this number is a minimum of 6, for what it's worth. It's funny, I always visit this cell. Oh, that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. I always visit this cell, so it's a 9. That actually is the point. Because look at where I'm going. I'm either going to go through here in the B, in which case I'm going to pop out. I'm going to have to go this way because these are both unvisited. Or I'm not going to go that way, in which case I'm going to come here. So I always visit this cell anyway. And if this cell is definitely visited, then I know what digit it is, because it is an 8 or a 9 plus something. So it has to be an 8 plus a 1 is 9, which makes that a 9. Oh, crap, it's wrong. Darn it. That was so cool, too, because you can move diagonally in here. Uh, uh, right, because I don't have any black spots. Darn. Uh, dang, Marty, ruining all my deductions. Uh, it was so cool, too. Uh, oh, but the argument does apply, Matt Laffey points out, to this cell. This cell does always have to be visited. Uh, so regardless, uh, this cell is visited because, again, whether I go through here or whether I go through B, I need to get out down here or I'm stuck. Because I can't connect out through here, basically. So the argument I made was the correct argument. I just made it about the wrong cell. So this is 9. That's an 8. That's a 1. That's a 9. And now this cell is unvisitable. This cell is unvisitable. This cell is unvisitable. In fact, just everything else in this column is unvisitable, because I would add something to it that was not that. Okay. And so that means that we have to connect back here diagonally, like that, through B, whatever B happens to be. B is certainly 6, 7, or 8. Okay, and because of that, that means we now are obligated to go that way, because we can't go this way anymore. So it's both the sum of those two numbers and the sum of those two numbers, for what it's worth. I know that neither of these, therefore, can be 8. Oh, sorry. That one's not the or 7 one. For whatever it is worth. I can ask myself things like, where is orange in here? Oh, it's probably more profitable to ask where orange is in box 1, because orange is one of these two cells for sure. Orange is definitely even, because of box 1. So if I look where orange goes in box 1, if orange is 7, there's no place for 7 in box 1. So orange is definitely even. Regardless. And so Emma said that in a different way, but same idea. So these two cells have the same parity, and these two cells have the same parity. But those parities could be different. This digit is that digit plus that digit as well, which is actually the sum of these two for whatever it's worth. Blue is 1. Speaking of things, which actually places the 1 in this box. I did not ever somehow notice. Worse yet, I didn't even notice people in chat saying it, and I'm sure people in chat have said it a million bajillion times. So there's a 1 in one of those cells. So there's a 1 in that cell. Or one of those cells, yeah. Just mark that that is unvisited. Right. This is unvisited is the point by David, because 1 is not the sum of these two numbers. This number is assuredly 1 plus one of these, so this is 5, 6, 7, or 8. Okay, these two numbers, let me just highlight them. This is 1 sum to orange. This is the purple sum to orange, I guess. We'll just do it that way. We'll just let it be orange. This is the orange sum to orange. This is the, I don't know, the orange-yellow sum to orange or something. So the point is, I can actually look at that and say, okay, if this is at least 4, then this is at most 4. I can't do much here. This is at least 3, so this is at most 5, for whatever it is worth. Very minimal. Okay, I don't think that was worth doing, but we did it. I am being informed that 1 plus 1 is 2. It's a little more than I like to do, but I'll do it this time. Let's see. Okay, I do know that A is... Okay, well, I do know that one of these is 6. So I might as well. That's not what I wanted. I do know that one of these is 6, and so that's not a 6. And in particular, A is not 6. So what can A actually be? It's not 1, 2, 3, it's not 9, and it's not 6. So it's always 4, 5, 7, or 8. So that's not actually very many things that it could be. Okay, and this number is at least 4. Okay. I know that there's a 5 and a 7 down there. Yellow isn't the sum of things, Emma. Yellow's not on the path. That's why it's got an X. Let's see. We do know that there's a 1 over here. So, in fact, the 1 is in one of these two. Okay, so there's a 1 by Sudoku in one of these two cells, which means the other digit is even. So these are for 1, 2, 4, 4, 6, 8. For whatever it is worth. Yeah, we can pencil mark this. Why not? It is not 1, 2, 3. It's not 6. It's not 9. So it's also 4, 5, 7, 8. We know that the 5 and the 7 are down here for sure. This can't actually be 7, funnily enough, because that would require this to be 6. So we can actually remove the 7 from that cell. Can't be 4 either, Matt Laffey points out, because that would need to be a 3. So this is actually only a 5 or an 8. For what it is worth. Is there something wrong with these being a 4, 5, 7 triple? I am not sure. I know there is an 8 down here with a 6 up here somewhere. Okay, that's not 6 either. Maybe I should be more conscious of this. That's not 6 either, because then the thing below it would be 8. And it's not. Okay, so one of these is 6, and therefore one of these 3 is 8. Oh, I can't put the 6 up here. That's the point. Okay, that's the point. If I put the 6 up here, I put an 8 below it, and I break this cell. Okay, this is much less complicated than I think I was trying to make it, because I can't make this cell have no values. And that's what would happen if I put a 6 here. And so the 6 is actually hidden in row 1. That's the 6, and that's the 8, which makes that the 5. And means those aren't 5. That's not 8. Okay. So we've placed the 6. And therefore, by Matt Laffey's math, this is a 4 in order to make the math work. So that's a 7 over there. These aren't 4. That is not 7. These aren't 4. Okay. Oh, right. This is on the path, points out David. So this isn't a 3 because of pathage of this 6, 8. I do know that one of these two cells is 8, regardless of anything else. Uh, uh, all right. So Dorlier's point, let me phrase a different way, is these numbers are at least 4. And so, in fact, at least 5, but then, therefore, in fact, at least 6 by Sudoku. So they can only actually be 6, 8, 9. And so, just because of the fact that they're 4 plus something. And neither of these can be 8. So those are a 6, 9 pair, and that is an 8. Like that. And now this is not on the path because there's no number that it could be. Namely, these are now just a 2, 3 pair, and so my path doesn't visit this cell, even though it could move diagonally, possibly. Okay. So we can solve for a few linear equations. So that's a 4. And then these are a 2 and a 5 to add to the 4 to get that. So these are a 2, 5 pair. And so these are not 2 or 5. These are 3, 7, which now makes that a 2 and that a 3. It means those are not 4. Okay, this cell now is not on the path either because it is a minimum of 7 by math. So therefore, the path does move diagonally, as always. And this digit is the sum of these two. This can't be a 7. What? People are claiming I've done this wrong. What did I do? Oh, right. Sorry. The path doesn't go through the portal. That's not how portals work. In fact, actually, we've known where the portal went this whole time. We just didn't ever fill it in. So that's certainly not a 1, speaking of, because the portal definitely goes through that cell, at least. Because it has to connect somewhere, and we said it doesn't connect there. And so, therefore, that is a 1. Which places a 1 over here. Okay, and David likes it when we X out the 1s. And so this digit is the sum of these two. So it's a minimum of 5. And I don't think it can actually be 9. Oh, no, it could be 9 is 2, 7. Okay, so this is a 5, 6, or 9. David also likes filling in a 6 here, which gets us a 1, 2 pair. Oops. And then makes this 2, let's see. This is 2 plus 3 is 5 and 9. Okay, and then these are 4 and 7, and we actually know the order. And so that actually tells us the order up there as well. Okay, well, this isn't visited either. These are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so this is also 3, 5, 7, or 9. Let's see. Emma, I think, has done the subtraction over here to say that this is either 2 plus 3, 2 plus 4, or 2 plus 7. and it's seemingly not 2 plus 4, so this is not actually 6. Okay, and so this digit is always even. So this is 4, 6, or 8. That is true. We do know the cupcake is visited. So we can fill this in. Let's see. We've got the 1, 2. We need a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we know the red teleporter isn't 9. So this over here is 3, 5, or 6. And so David's point is that these two numbers add to this number. And so this number certainly is not 3. So 2 plus 5 would be 7. That's not going to work. So therefore, this number is not 5. 2 plus 3 being 5 would work. 2 plus 6 doesn't actually work either. So in fact, the red circle is 8. Or sorry, the red circle is 3. And that number is 5, which makes that a 9. And it also means that green can't be 3 because the different portals have different numbers. That seems to be a 7 and an 8 if I look over there. That is not an 8. That is not a 3. This isn't a 7 or a 9. This isn't a 3 or a 5. That seems to be a 6 and a 9 for lots of reasons. Okay, there is a 3 over here somewhere. There's an 8 over here somewhere. We certainly have to use the green portal, so this is going to be a 5, just for what it's worth. The green portal, though, can't be 7, because we've already used 7 in a portal, for what it is worth. Let's see. Okay, so this digit is a 6 or a 7, just for what it's worth. And it seems not to be 7 for some reason. Right. This number is a 6 or a 7, and it's not a 7 by Sudoku, so that's a 6 and a 5, which makes that a 6 and an 8, makes that a 9 and a 9, makes that a 5 and a 9, which makes that a 3 and a 7, seems to make that, a 7 and a 9, seems to make that a 7 and a 5 and a 3, seems to make that a 4, so I'm allowed to visit that cell, funnily enough. I'm not allowed to visit this cell, though. That's not what I wanted to do. This cell is not visitable because it would have a value of 11. So therefore, we have to come back this way. And so now that value is a 9. That value is a 6. That value is an 8. Absolutely bonkers. Okay. So let's highlight some more cells that we can't visit. We definitely can't visit that cell. We can't visit that cell. So we know we visit that cell. We can't move diagonally, so we know we visit that cell. So now we either go through the teleporter or we go up to this cell, but we can't visit that cell, actually, because 5 plus 7 is too big. And so, therefore, this comes up here. So we do go through the teleporter. This cell is 8. Mark did try to tell me this was 2, and I promptly ignored him. Let's see. This number, I should probably know what it is. It seems to be a 2. Let's see. Okay, so now we've gone through here. Okay, so let me mark up the cells that we can actually visit. Okay, so this would be 6 plus 6. That's too big. This would be 8 plus 6. That's too big. This, if it was visited, it would be a 7. I can't do that. That would be an 11. That would be a 15. That would be a 13. Oops. That would be a 4, which is, I think, acceptable. This would be an 8, which is, I think, acceptable. This would be a 10, which is not. This 3 is assuredly not visited. Let's see. This had better be... Oh, no, sorry. That doesn't have to be visited. That's not how portals work. Okay, so we need to visit one of those. Okay, well, we now know that we go from this 9 back up here because there's nowhere else available. And so that digit is a 6. Nicely enough. That 5 is visitable. That is not visitable. So this just isn't visitable in any universe. In fact, actually, we must visit this 5. We have no choice because where else are we going to go? And we have to visit now this cell as well. And so that is an 8. And so this we know is visited. So this had better not turn out to be a 4 for some reason. But we don't know yet. So I guess now we just mark everything. Because I think we basically have done all the rat-related deductions. Okay, so that digit seems to be a 4. In which case, then, we have resolved the rat path, because we cannot go to the 7. 7 is not 1 plus 3. The rare moment of this thing isn't on the path because that's too big. Oops. Okay, and so, excuse me. Tried to hit the wrong button on the thing, and then it did not work. Okay, so if this is a 1, that's a 3. If this is a 2, that's a 4, and that doesn't work because it breaks this cell. So this can't be a 2 because this would have to also be even, and that would break. So that's a 1, 2, 1. 4, 3, 6, 5, 3, 5, 4. I think you could argue that that's basically exactly the same amount of look ahead as the previous puzzle, but it didn't bother me because it was a parity deduction instead of having to add. 7, 3, 5, 2, 4, and this is a something, which is a 2. Despite having over 2 months off, Finks got straight back into test mode, picking up right where she left off, as we'd hoped. Frustratingly, despite weeks of tinkering with the teleporters and thinking these issues were fixed, Teleport B once again overheated after Finks entered it. Why is it just that one that's always being temperamental? Further investigation is required. Oh, I didn't even need to do that, I'm being told. I don't know. I always enjoy the that breaks a by value. That is always a deduction that I find enjoyable. But yes, I agree. I could have just like marked more aggressively. Alrighty, let's do rat run number 12. Let me pull it up. I don't have it up yet, I don't think. Oh, there we go. 12. I have to admit, I'm glad this week's experiment involves nothing high-tech. I have tried to remind Elliot of our original goals and that Finks shines brightest when she's allowed to focus on my mazes, without unnecessary complications. For this week, at least, he listened. But it's only a matter of time. Okay, so normal moving. We have grapes now. Grapes are German whisper lines. The digits have a difference of at least 5. Oh no, index lines. Oh god. In this experiment, dotted borders divide the correct path into index lines. In any box, the nth cell visited by Fitz is called position n. The digit in position n always indicates which position along the segment contains the digit n. E.g., in a box, Finks must visit the digits 3, 5, 1, 4, 2 in that order. The first digit being a 3, indicates that the third digit is a 1, and so on. Okay, this is going to break my brain horribly. Not unlike the previous puzzle, I suppose. Okay, so if it's the nth thing... So does the 1 mean that the rat herself is always a 1 because the first position contains the digit 1? No, that can't be right, right? No. Oh, I see. This number is going to tell me which position is the 1. And so if this is the 4, it's saying the fourth position is the 1. I see. Yes, and so the only digits that appear on the index line are the digits 1 through n, where n is the digit that we go through. So if we went through this, and it's each time we go through the box, right? So it's each time we go through the box. So if we go through here, these are a 1, 2, 3 triple, and that almost assuredly breaks. Yes, that breaks because of this, right? So if Finks goes up this way, then these are from 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are from 1, 2, 3. And we have a problem that we have 6 digits from 1, 2, 3, 4 in the column. So Finks is going to run off this way, at least. Like that. And we know, therefore, that Finks is going to come up through here. Now, we know that these digits are all from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there's at most 6 digits on these. Here we could visit more, but we can't visit every cell in these, because if we do, oh, maybe we could. Then we might get a 7, 8, 9 going on, sort of thing. But I know there's at least 1, 7, 8, 9 over here. I can't make both of these 6 long. That's definitely not going to work, because then I'm going to force 7, 8, 9 in this column twice. And that is not going to work. It is true. This is also from 1 through 6. Okay. No, that's not true. Sorry, I was going to say something that was wrong. Again. Let's see. But we do know that none of these cells are visitable now. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do, and you know it. We do know there's a 1 in this column, Matt Laffey points out, because we have sort of aligning 1s. In fact, actually, if you think about it, these are going to have all of 1, 2, and 3, actually, because we know this path is going to need to be, is going to need to have some 1, 2, 3s in it, because I remember if I visit cells 1 through n, or sorry, if I visit n cells, then I have all of 1 through n, and so 1, 2, and 3. But now I'm having a problem, because I feel like that's going to tell me that I'm going to need to make this a 1, 2, 3. And that's not going to work, because it's going to break this. Because that means I have to have a 4 in one of these columns that's not visited. Like one of these boxes is going to have a 4 that's not on the thing. And that's going to mean it's only 1, 2, 3. We can't zigzag. We don't have diagonals. And visiting more cells is only going to make it worse. Like if I visit all of these, I'm going to have to put all of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in these 3 cells. But there's just no way Oh, no, it does work. It does work. Okay, it does work. If I make these 1, 2, 3, I can make these 4, 5, and I think I can make it work. Uh, but I definitely agree that there needs to be a 1, 2, 3 here. Uh, uh, and if this goes up now, it's insta-broke. Because now these would be from... Oh, maybe it's not instantly broken. Yeah, that's the way to say it, is where is 4 in column 3? And the answer is it's definitely in this box, which means I need to only go through 3 cells. And they've got to be those 3, right? There's no more efficient way to do that. So these are 1, 2, 3. Okay, sorry, I did not visualize this correctly. So these are now 1, 2, 3, and now we have to do this so that these can be 4, 5, 6. And so, yeah, we've got our sort of fully roped business 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Well, the 1 is not in the second or third spot. So this does have to be a 1, right? Going back to our roots. Because if this was a 2 or a 3, it would say one of those was 1, and it's not. Okay, so we're back to our roots of a rat race puzzle where the first digit is a 1. Ba-doop, ba-doop. Woo! Ba-doop, ba-doop. Wah! Ba-doop, ba-doop. Wee! Ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. Wah! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Okay, and so now these being a 2, 3 pair says that the 4 and the 5 show up in these 2 spots, and so therefore that's the 6. Okay, we can't visit all 9 cells here because we have a branch here, I suppose. We can't visit both of those. So then this is never a 9. At the very least. And this is never the last cell we visit, for whatever it's worth. Yeah, it being an 8 would require me to visit, yeah, this being an 8 doesn't work because I also can't visit so we said I can't visit both of those, but I also can't visit all of this because of parity nonsense. Basically, the elegant way to think about this is that I've got this checkerboard business going on in this box. And so when I said I can't visit both of these, what I actually was saying is I can't visit both yellow cells And if I say I can't visit both yellow cells, and I always alternate between yellow and purple cells, that actually is saying I visit at most 7 cells, is the nice way to think about it that doesn't actually involve any of the maze stuff beyond saying that I can't visit both of these. Okay, and so if I visit at most 7 cells, that'd be better be a 7. These are an 8 and a 9 and are unvisited because we said we visit at most 7 cells. Oh, sorry, wrong color of X. And now we have to go over this way and bounce up this way. And now if you look at it, well, we have to visit 7 cells, and so we have to go that way. Like that. Okay, so the 7th cell is the 1. The diagonal makes it worse, not better, Selena. The 2-3 pair is forced. So this is saying, where does the 3 go? Well, the 3 either goes in the 2nd spot or the 3rd spot, but the 3 can't go in the 2nd spot, so it goes in the 3rd spot, which means this is a 2, which means that's a 4. And I think this works either way. For what it is worth. But you're right that in general, diagonals would allow you to break that. Just not in this puzzle. So I know there's a 1 or a 2 on here. That's the point. That's very cute, actually. So because these are 5 apart, one of them is 1 or 2. But because there's at least 2 cells on the line, I know the 1 and 2 both show up on the line, and therefore one of these is on the line, and therefore we know the line does that. Oh, and the line can only visit each box at most once, because if the line tries to visit the box twice, then we're going to have this horrendous problem that we're going to need more than 1, 1, and 2 in the box. And so therefore we can't go down. We have to go that way. And then we can, then we can continue our path out like that, making these an 8-9 pair. And so these have to be a 1-6 pair, therefore. And so the 1, therefore, shows up in one of these 2 spots, which is either the 4th or the 5th cell. We know that this is a 2, 3, or 4. Let's see, the 2. Right. The 2 is placed by Sudoku. The reason is because there's no 3 and 4 available, Olaf. So the point is that if you just imagine this being a length 2 German whisper line, I need a high and a low digit. The only available low digits were 1 and 2. So I needed a 1 or a 2 on here, and then the rest of it sort of tumbled out of the fact that then the only high digit available was a 6. The 2 is just placed by Sudoku. And so that means that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a 7. Let's see. The 3 is in either the 3rd spot or the 6th spot, but it can't be a 6 because we've already used that. So that's a 3. And now this is a 4 or a 5. Sorry, no, this is a... Yeah, this is a... Sorry, no, let's see. This is... One of these is a 6. Sorry. So, yeah. So this is the other 4 or 5. Yeah, this is a 4 or 5. Right. Okay. Like that. Okay, so I can't go down here because if I go down here, it makes that a 3, which then makes that a 1, which clashes with the 1, 2. So I'm not allowed to go down that way, which means this has to continue across here. And so now this path, David is pointing out, is at most 5 long. So these numbers here are from 3, 4, 5. And what David has said in as many words is, therefore you have a 3, 4, 5 triple in the row. So this is a 6 and that's a 7. And so the 5th spot is the 1. The 4th spot is the 6. And therefore we don't go to the 7 because, well, that doesn't work. So we have to go through here, making these a 1, 2 pair, and we know the order. And the first spot is the 3, or the 3 goes in the first spot, and the 4 goes in the second spot. 5, 6, 8, 9 go in. Well, not in, but go in-ish. Okay, we know we have to get out this way of this box because we have to get out of the box somehow. And we certainly can't get out this way because if we get out this way, then I need to put both 1 and 2 in that cell. So actually, funnily enough, this is just entirely forced. And we get another 8, 9 pair. I think I know that there's a 3 on this dot, but I don't really want to think about it at the moment. If I'm being completely honest, let's see. This is not a 1 or a 2, or a 4. Okay, well, I do know there's a 3 on the dot regardless. Okay, maybe I will think about it. I know there's a 3 on the dot because all the other lows are gone. The 3 assuredly goes with an 8 or a 9. Okay, and I can't take an 8 or a 9 going through here, right? If I go through here, it will be too long, and there's all kinds of problems with that. I can't go that way, or I'll end up going backwards. So I have to go this way. And so now the question is, do I go that way, or do I go that way? But there are 2 cells not visited, so there can't be an 8 or a 9 on this line. So this is an 8 or a 9, and that's a 3. And so the 3rd spot is where the 1 goes. And so the question is just, do we have a 7 or not? Which is okay, I think. Well, that is the 7, funnily enough, just by Sudoku. Oh, unless that's the 7. Sorry, that could be the 7. One of these 2 is the 7 by Sudoku. Jim points out I have an 8, 9 pair in the row, which is handy. So that is a 7. Oh, that could be a 7. Sorry. Right. We need a... Yeah, this could... Right, the 8, 9 could go there. If it does, then that's the 7, right. So end up with a 7, 8, 9 running across here for what it's worth. Still can't have 8, 9 on the line, though. That's still true. And the 3 still indexes a 1. That's true. Selena pointing out that one of these 2 is a 5. And this being the 5 would be a problem. because there's a 5 on the segment. And so Selena's argument is if the segment goes here, then the 5 ends up having to go somewhere untoward. Basically, oh, these are not quite a 5-7 pair, I guess. Let's see. This could be a 2, be a 3, could be a 4, can't be a 5, could be a 6, can't be a 7, can't be an 8 or a 9. One of these two is a 5. One of these two is a 1. Let's see. Okay, the 1 is not on the 4th spot in this line, I see. At the very least. I guess I only gets down to 3 spots. That's not so exciting to me. Yeah, I was trying to sort of find a way to say that wasn't quite as messy, David. I agree with you that if this is a 5, it's on the path, and so therefore the path does this, and now it's indexing the 7, which makes that a 7. Sorry, which makes that a 7, which breaks because there's a 7 in the column. It's just ugly. In box 4, the indexing is resolved, I am being told. The 2 does not go in the 3rd spot, is what this is saying. Let's see. Oh, that's the 1st spot. Sorry. I removed the wrong 2. Right, sorry. Right. The 3 doesn't go in the 2nd spot. And so this is the 3rd spot. So I should be saying this is not a 2. So it is a 3. And so now those are a 1-2 pair. But I think those work either way. This is the 1 in box 6. I know that's not the 1. Sorry, I know that's not the 1. I know that's not the 1. Right, okay, so I actually do know that one of these two is the 1, because if I look at this just by Sudoku, I know those cells aren't the 1. Also, this cell can't be the 1 because that would be a 3 and it sees that. This cell can't be a 1 because that would be a 4 and it sees that 4. So it's either the 7th or the 8th spot that is the 1. Or sorry, either the 6th or the 7th spot that sees the 1. Over there. But there's a 7, 8, 9 triple in the row. So in fact, that is a 6, points out Emma. Okay, and so that makes that the 1. Okay, no 6, no 6, and then that bounces around to resolve this stuff. Okay, so one of these two is a 3. So that means the third spot here is, if I count along, that's 4 or 5. That means this is always a 4 or 5. Oh yeah, this is a 2, 4, 5 just by Sudoku even. But I see it can't be a 4 or a 5 because I can't put the 2 down here because there's already a 2 in the row. So I think this is just a 2, which seems to make that just a 4, making that a 5. I realized I was trying not to do a bifurcation thing in an index puzzle when that's all you do in index puzzles. But let's see. Okay, this is 4 or 5. Okay, so we still need a 7, which is either going to go there, or these are going to be a 3, 7 pair. Sure. One of these two is a 2. I might as well mark. Let's see. If that's the 2, it's fine. If that's the 2, then that's a 5. Ah, yeah, saying the 7 is just in the 5th or the 7th position, so this is always a 5 or a 7. Agree. Okay, this is asking where the 5 goes, and so the 5 either by marks either goes in the 2nd spot or the 7th spot, right? And then, or the 6th spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can't even go in the 6th spot. So actually, yeah, this is only a 2 if we now look at this spot, right? Because that can't be a 5. So I think this is now only a 2, which seems to make that a 5, and that a 7, and that a 4, and that a 6, and that a 4. Okay, I think we did successfully dodge the deduction I was trying to dodge. So now this can only be a 6 or a 7, but it can't be a 7. So it is a 6. And so now this is either a 7 or it isn't. Okay. Let's see. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, right. And then these are now a 3 and a 5. Except we know that the 4 goes in the 3rd spot, so actually it's in that order. So there's a 2 over there. Let's see. These are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, not 5. 3, 7, 8, 9 is what's left in this column. Let's see. Okay, so we know regardless, we definitely come out through here in this box. Okay, if the 1's definitely on the path. So either this is a 1, or if that's a 1, then the 1 is either the 3rd or the 4th spot on the path, I think. It would have to be the 3rd. That's a good point. That there's the path in box 9 is going to have to reach the 1, and the 1 is over here by Sudoku. So we know the path is not going to go straight to the cupcake, but it could sort of diagonal in for the cupcake or something like that. It's going to have to be at least 7 long because it's going to have to cross column 8 twice. So we know the path is going to be at least 7 long. Given that we could go diagonally, we probably can get to 9 long if we really want to. We can. One of these is a 7. Let's see. 3 is indeed far enough away from 8 or 9. One of these is a 4. I don't think I know anything about that. That's a good point from David. I definitely need both the 1 and the 3 in box 8, and both of them happen to be in this column. And so, therefore, I need to take both of these cells, because if I don't take both of them, I'm not getting either of them because they're lumped together. So I can fill in all of that. Let's see. One of these two is 6, but that's not so exciting. Let's see, if I do go up there, then I end up here. So this is the next cell on the... Or sorry, this is the cell... I either go directly there or I go there like that. I'm just claiming this can't be 1, 3. I probably just need to pencil mark this whole column to see that. If this were 1, it would be saying that the 4 or the 5... I can't look that far in my indexing in my brain. Mark does pop up. Yes, you're not imagining it. Okay. I certainly believe David's point that this is never an 8 or a 9, because we know this is the 3rd or 4th position, and it just so happens there's a 3 and a 4 over here, and the 8th or the 9th position would assuredly be over here in this column. And so this is not an 8 or a 9. So this is now the 4th or the 5th spot. So basically, I think the claim is that this can't be a 3 and that be a 1 because it breaks for something. It's a little tricky for me to see. Okay. So here's the way to see it. If this is off of the line, then I need to make this a 3. Because if this is off of the line, is the sort of the shortest path to the contradiction. If this is off of the line, then that's the one, and then this is the first spot. It needs to be a 3, and it can't be. So this can't be off the line. That's I think the elegant way to do it. Okay. So now the 1 is, well, only at the first spot, because this would be the 4th spot. So that's a 1, and that's a 3. So the 2 and the 3 gives me a 1 over here. Places the 3 in this column. So we know that cell is visited. I'm just going to mark, and I know that cell is visited. Over there. It's a 3, and that's a 2. Okay, so we know we need to visit at least 8 cells, if not 9, now in this box. Okay, the 3rd spot is where the 4 goes, which makes that the 4. Makes that the 5 and the 4. Okay, the 2 we know is in either of those spots, except that spot is the 6th spot, and the 2 can't go in the 6th spot, so the 2 goes in the 2nd spot. That's a 7, 8, 9 triple in the row. So these are a 2. Oh, the 2 is actually just placed. It's there. And then a 5 and a 6 over here. Okay, this is the 8th spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, this is the 7th spot. It's saying the 7 goes in the 5th or the 6th spot, but the 7 goes in the 6th spot. It's the only one of those that works. Okay, and now the 5 can't go in the 8th spot. So the 5 has to go in the 9th spot, which means it goes there. Okay, and we said we can't go directly to the cupcake because we haven't been through everything we need to be through yet. So we can do that, and we can pachinko that up through some of these. 8, 9, 7, 7. Let's see, 9, 8. That is a 9 now, so that's a 5. Okay, so we know we visit those at least. We certainly visit the 5 as well, because of that. Okay, this row. Okay, we know what this digit is. This is an 8. So that is not an 8. Okay, so this is, this is now a naked single. It's now a naked single. No, not a 4. Let's try again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's a naked single 6. Okay, so we need to make the 6th cell that we visit. And then let's see, we can certainly mark both of these as well. Okay, so that is the 4, and that's our last cell that we visit. Hey, Sniglet, how are you doing? Going pretty well. Even though I accidentally talked myself into doing an indexing puzzle, which is never my favorite, but what are you going to do? Okay, so the 1 is the 6th spot. If I go directly to the 2, that would make sense. Oh, I can't not... Oh, I could not go directly to the 2 if I did that. The 4th spot, yeah, I can certainly enter that that's a 4 and that's an 8. So the 4th spot is going to be either the 7, 8, or 9. For whatever it is worth. Okay, so we know this is the 6th cell. Okay, if the 4th cell is a 7, 8, or 9, Well, it can't be that 8. I don't think. I don't think in any universe is that the 8th cell that we're visiting. So I think that means the 4 has to be the 7 or the 9. But we can't visit every cell in the box because we have to go diagonally at least once. Or we'd be visiting the 1 on an odd numbered step. So can visit everything even with a diagonal? There's no way, right? Oh no, that it is possible. I have just proven to myself it is possible. But basically, the 2 is, I think, the key. So basically, Emma's claim is that I can either go to the 2 directly or I can do that. But if I do anything else, then from here, then I have broken it, because the 2 needs to connect to 2 things, and these are the things the 2 can connect to. And so if the 2 doesn't connect to the 6, the 2 connects to both of these. And because the 6 can't connect to the 4 right away, and I can't block the 4 by sort of, again, a high level or a high degree of recursion, we can't get to the 2 except in the 2nd or the 3rd spot. But in the 3rd spot doesn't actually work, because that would be saying the 7 or that the 2 is actually in the 7th or 9th spot. So we actually have to go there. And now, likewise, I don't think the 3 can be in the 7th or 9th spot, because I think if it is, then we've disconnected the 3 from the 4, which we cannot do. So we have to go there next. And so now we have to get to the 5, but we can't go directly to the 5, or we're saying the 4 is in the 5th spot, which it's not. So in the 4 is certainly not in the 1st spot. So we have to go there like that. And so now, if we now go up to the 8, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't this work either way? In my brain, this works either way. The 4 is not in the 7th spot, is the point, because the next spot is the 7th spot. The 4 needs to be in the 9th spot, which means we have to do that. All right, so that's a 9, and that's the 7, is the point. Oh boy, we made it through. It sometimes feels like Finks is beginning to know my maze design sensibilities better than I do. Often she seems to intuit the correct path before even attempting to find the proof. It's as if she's second-guessing my choices, which in turn are shaping hers, making her feel like less of a test subject and more of a co-worker in this complex game. This is something Elliot would never understand. Is Elliot a real person? I'm curious. And since Finks is a real person, I'm curious if this Elliot is like Marty's like worst enemy in real life or something. Given Elliot's portrayal as the stubborn villain of the story. Let's see. Finks has a little rat notebook full of formal proofs that check all of the appropriate cases. Indexing puzzles are one of the messiest ones to attempt to be rigorous with. But But anyway, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back, and I'll do at least one more, probably only one more, but we'll see once I am back. So see you all in just a moment. Welcome back to Triskaidekaphobia. All right, so here we are in experiment 13. Although I'm not a superstitious man, I did briefly wonder whether we should have chosen a different test constraint for today's experiment. Perhaps this speaks less to any belief in luck, and more to my concern that things continue to go as smoothly as possible. Tempting fate at this stage seems... Okay, so get the rat to the cupcake. I want a cupcake. In each row and column and 3x3 box, there's one nullifier cell to be located. The value of a nullifier cell is 0. Each nullifier cell contains a different digit. Motion sensors count things, the number of cells up to 9 that are visited. These are regular all 1 to 2 ratios. These are length 2 German whisper lines. I also really like grapes, so I appreciate that. The X's are sums to 10 that Finks may not pass through. And if a row, column, or box is visited by Finks, then the sum of all the visited cells in that row, column, or box must sum to exactly 13, even if the cells aren't all adjacent on the path. Okay, that is an interesting thing to do. Okay, okay, so that certainly at least goes back to there. We do have to be a little bit careful about stuff with the nullifiers. Okay, so, I see there's an annoying possibility here, which I was going to say, well, if the rat just goes down here and never visits this box anywhere else, then those sum to 13, but then those also sum to 13, and that's a problem, except it's not a problem if that cell's a nullifier. Okay. And then there's a similar thing in this row, like if these are the only 2 cells that are visited, okay, I guess I should probably mark off the black dots and the X's don't have nullifiers on them. Because you can't have 2 nullifiers that are touching, and I guess the counters could be 0 if the path doesn't touch them. So that is interesting. Let's see. There aren't any other spots where it's like very clear that I can't have a nullifier, right? Like I could easily put a nullifier on an on a grape, without it causing any big issues, I expect. Let's see. I fear we might be being misled by the fact that Finks is looking this way when actually Finks is supposed to like run around this way or something. That's true, David points out. These can't both be 0. So Finks definitely visits at least one of these. So yeah, so I agree this box is definitely visited. Oh, not necessarily, though. It could be that I don't visit this box at all. That's 0, and this is like a 2, if we go through this way or something. Because this sensor sees outside the box. Okay, so if we go up here, that's way too far to go. Because basically now I'm just going to say, like, is this cell on the path? I claim no, because if it is, all of these cells are on the path, and now I'm summing a minimum of 5 cells, and it's actually even more than that, that have non-zero values. So this cell is not on the path, which means none of these are on the path either. Good night, Emma. These can just get away with being on the path. I mean, at least as far as box 3 itself is concerned. because we could then have Finks leave here immediately, and then it would be 5 cells, one of which was zeroized, summing to 13, and that's very possible. And we can do like weird. Okay, I guess I know we don't do that because it's a uniqueness problem, I think. But yeah, we certainly cannot go all the way down this column. And so, in fact, actually, this cell is also poison, and this cell is poison. Because if I visit this cell, then I grab, again, 6 cells in the same house, row, column, or box, and I can't do that. So this is not visitable, this is not visitable, which then creates a couple dead ends that I can mark off. So we can at least say none of that. I do know that the cells in row 1, 2, and 3 all definitely are going to have to sum to 13 because I visited them. I think I can just get away with that without any problem. For whatever it is worth. I think if I visit here, it breaks after a little bit of look ahead. Because if I do visit here, it just forces all of that. And now I've got 5 cells in this box. Except the problem is I'm not out of the box yet. I need to take a 6th and then it breaks. So this isn't visitable. So that's not visitable. And now we get that these aren't visitable as well. So we actually can sort of backfill in all of that. We do know one of the row 2 sensors has to be visited, but of course I have to visit another cell in each of rows 1 through 3 because there's no way the one cell sums to 13. I know that neither of these digits is 5, and I know that neither of those digits is 5, or any of those digits. Think about that. Actually, one of these digits could be 5. Never mind. Sorry, one of them could be 5 as long as it's nullified. So I bet there is a 5 on one of the olives / grapes. Yeah, there's these 3 ways for Finks to go up and then back down. So 2 of these 3 are used. Oh, I guess this one has to be used because basically Finks has to get up into this area and then back down. And the point is, there's these 3 ways to do it, but these 2 ways both go through this bottleneck. And so one of Finks is either going to do that or that. And whichever one of those Finks does, Finks always has to take that path. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong color. Do we agree with that? I think that's right. Oops. And so provided that we agree with that, that's already 5 cells in this column. That's the maximum. So none of these can be visited, and one of these needs to be nullified, or we've got a problem. It's not that one. We certainly can't visit this cell, because then we'll be visiting too many. Because if we do visit this cell, we now have to still escape the box. So we escape the box that way. So now this isn't nullified either. That is our 5 cells in row 1. So this is not... Oh, sorry. I guess I'm alternating between whether I mean isn't visited or isn't nullified. Let me make sure I believe this. Okay, I mean for blue to be isn't nullified, right? In this case, this cell isn't nullified or visited because I need to be nullifying something in order to get these 5 cells to work. And so we can go that way. And now these 2 cells are both unvisitable and unnullifiable, but I'll mark unnullifiable for the moment. I'll also mark unvisitable. Why not? Let's go wild. All of those are unvisitable. All of these are unvisitable. There is a diagonal possibility here. So one of these 2 is nullified, and so these aren't. This only has one way it can go, which is that way. And now it only has one way to go, which is that way. And now it only has one way to go, which is that way. And so now it goes that way and then that way. Why does the path go down from row 4, column 1 and not diagonally? It's not allowed to go diagonally from row 4, column 1. Oh, sorry, you mean up there. Sorry, you're right. Sorry. I saw that before and then forgot it already. You're right. It could make this diagonal. These still can't be visited though. This is, in fact, always visited, I suppose. I actually do know that regardless of what it does do, it certainly, the path certainly winds through here because it's the only way out. Because I can't visit these either. I rewound, but I had marked that before, and it's still true. That I cannot visit those. And so now we certainly know we come over here at the very least. We certainly actually can extend one further up back over here. It is still true that these can't be nullified. This row currently has 4 cells. We could just count. This cell is 4, is being pointed out. So we get to bring out Zach for another 4 dance. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So this one now is at least 5. Sorry, no. Yeah, it's at least 5. And at most 6. Yeah, so this is only 5 or 6. So if this is a 5, then of course this is nullified. Six would not have me visit 6 cells in a box. It would only have me visit 5. Why are we saying we can't go diagonally down? Are we miscounting this in the same way that I miscounted it? Okay. Well, again, over here, whether we take the diagonal or bounce through it, we always come this way. So this is at least 3. It's not so... It would be 5 with a diagonal because of this cell. So this isn't a nullifier, I guess, is the upshot of all of that. Oh yeah, this is certainly at least 4. Right, I can mark that. Oh, right, I've got 5 cells in box 4 now. Right, Tall Cat points out. And so we can't have any more cells in box 4, because 5 is the maximum. And therefore, Tall Cat points out we actually know that all of that happens. And we know that this is not the nullifier, because I need to nullify one of these. Okay. If this isn't nullified, there's no way it's larger than 6. Just by the fact that there are 3 other digits. So I guess this is true of all the digits that are on this line that I know aren't nullified, which is these 3, I suppose. They are no more than 6 because there are 3 digits that aren't nullified on this line, and they sum to a minimum of... Sorry, they're no more than 7. Sorry, because we're going to 13, not 12. I know that one's not a 5 as well. I know that this is either 1, 2, or 3, 6 for what it's worth. 3, 6 seems rough. 3, 6 just doesn't work because if this is 3, 6, then those already sum to 13, and that doesn't work. So this is 1, 2. So those sum to 7. Which means that one of these is a 6. And it's not, although I usually would mark it this way, it's not the one that is nullified. So there's no 6 down here. Right. Tall Cat has pointed out several times that these have the same sum as these, which was meaningless before, but is now quite meaningful because now that sum is 3. So now that sum is 3, so now that's a 1, 2. This can't be a 6 because that would be a 4. And this can't be a 4 because that would be a 6. So actually this is bizarrely always 3, 7. So that's never a 7. I have, I suppose, previously noted that this can't be 9 because that cell can't be visited. Let's see. This is just 4, 6. Because this X is not 1, 9, or 2, 8, and it's not 3, 7. So this is just 4, 6. for whatever little bit that is worth. This is an unnullified cell that's counted towards a 4-cell sum to 13. It's not a 7. So it's definitely a 3. And so... Sorry, that's wrong. I did not do my 13. I keep defaulting to my 12 sums and thinking there's no 7 in them. No. There's a 3 or 7 in it, which means the other one is also 3 or 7. The other one that counts, I mean. So the other one that's 3 or 7 goes here. This is super slick setting. This is probably the best sort of setting of any of these puzzles so far. This has to be a 3 or a 7 and has to not be nullified. Because if 3 of the 4 cells that are counted are 1, 2, and a 3, 7, then the fourth one has to be the other 3, 7. So this is a 3, 7, and it's not nullified. And so therefore this one is nullified. And so that now lets me say what happens because of the grape after I do the rest of my stuff. Namely, if this were a 7, this would need to be a 0, 1, or 2, and it can't be any of them. So this is a 3, that's a 7, that's a 3, and this is an 8 or a 9. Okay, and so these digits include an 8, a 9, and a 5. But definitely include a 5, so this digit's never a 5. Oh, sorry. Is the nullifier rule not at the top? Sorry, I should probably keep the nullifier rule on screen as I look through the scroll of the thing. Okay. So I know there's a 4 and a 6 down in these cells. I have not marked that row 8, column 3 is not on the path. I have only marked that row 8, column 3 is not a nullifier. Not on the path is X. Not a nullifier is bluish grayish color, is what I am attempting. Oh, yeah, I was not saying it wasn't 5 because of German Whispers things. I was saying it wasn't 5 because 5 in this box is in this column. Right, yeah. So Chad points out this certainly is not visited, because if this is visited, we're now obligated to visit 6 cells in the box. And so that actually chases us down. All of those cells are not visited because any of those would require that be visited, which gets us sort of more Xing over here. No matter what happens, we're always taking this hallway to get over to there. So that is worth noting. So that means we're certainly not coming here. I mean, I guess I already knew we weren't coming here, but we're now extra not coming here because that would make the sum too big. And we're not going there either. And so now the path has to come up through this corridor. Let's see. I mean, I've liked almost all of them. I don't think I've had anything too cruel to say about any of them, have I? But the setup here with the 3-7 was just sublime. Let's see. Although I will say there's a slight difference between best setting and one I like the best. Like I might say the one I liked the best might have been this one, even if the one that I think has the most sort of like art value is this one. Uh, let's see. Oh, there are 5 cells visited in column 4. Oh, thank you. So there are no more cells visited in column 4. Thank you for counting. Uh, okay, so that means, oh, and so this in particular is not visited. Uh, so we can scoot that way. And we can, oh, we don't know if we diagonal yet or not. We just know we don't that cell. We do know that one of these is the nullifier for this column, because that's 5 cells. And so we can mark as not a nullifier all of these cells. We can now fill in that this digit is a 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can mark it as a 5. And so now this cell is a nullifier. And so we can mark lots of cells as not being nullifiers. I correctly guessed that we would end up doing that. Okay, so one of these is a nullifier, so these aren't. Is a thing I know. I know that these are from 1, 2, 4, 8. I'm going to mark just for my sanity, because assuredly it will show up later. Okay, this is a 3-cell sum to 13 and a garbage digit. Oh, so this row, that's just a 9. Because there's no more cells in row 2 that could be in the thing. Interesting. Olaf is encouraging me to look at this number in light of the fact that 4 numbers are already not on it. So therefore it's at most 5, and therefore the only number it can be is 4. And if it is 4, it already sees 4, and therefore we can snake it over down there. And so now, speaking of things that sum to 13, now this isn't visited owing to the 4. And therefore, we can do this either by grape or by 13age. It's a 9. And therefore, this is a nullifier, because those already sum to 13. By the way, this is not a nullifier. And we should probably not make any more nullifiers. Okay, in the thing. Okay, so we got that. Got that. One of those is going to be part of our thing. So now this is a nullifier. I prophesied well as to what would happen in this puzzle with the nullifiers. So now one of these two is a nullifier. Oh, I guess I already knew those weren't nullifiers. I just didn't mark them, apparently. Oh, box 6 only has 1 spot for a nullifier. It has been pointed out to me. I did not notice that. Okay, so that comes down there. Okay, so now the path assuredly can't come to this cell, because if it did, that would be a 9 plus 3 digits, which would sum to a minimum of 15, and 15 and 13 are different numbers. So now I just can't come to this cell, because if I come to this cell, then I will have 13 equal to 13 plus this non-zero number, That's a problem. So those are actually both unvisitable, and we have to come this way. And we can't go through the X, so we must go this way. I enjoy the very video game-esque sort of slowly building up the vocabulary of all the different rat symbols. This can't go up here because then we will run into the X and die. So we have to do that. This is probably going to be a diagonal because it could be a diagonal, and that's how these puzzles work. But I don't technically know it yet, I don't think. Okay, these are a 2-cell sum. Oh, right, sorry. There's a 3-cell sum. Right, sorry. Over here. Being told this can't have an 8 by Kropke. Let's see. If this were an 8, then that minimum sum would be 14. And if this were an 8, the minimum sum would again be 14. I agree. Okay, so there's always a 2 on this, Tall Cat is pointing out. This cell is assuredly unvisitable. Oh, I probably should actually ask myself what these digits are. They add to 4, so they're 1 and 3, and we know the order. Someone has pointed out. Thank you. So one of these two is a 1, just by Sudoku. Oh, right. That's already 5 in this box, so therefore one of them needs to be nullified, and that's the only one. Thank you, Matt Laffey. So those are not nullified, so that one is nullified. And these are not visited now because we'd have a problem if they were. We don't want to have a problem, do we? Okay. Let's see. So we either do... Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that either because we've got 4 nullified digits in this box already. So we could do that. And so the whole path is not quite dictated, but it almost is. I do agree with the statement that David made that it's amazing that this puzzle has any solution at all, or that it is possible to set a puzzle with this rule set. This does feel like the sort of thing that should break a lot during setting. Okay. This digit is a minimum of 4. And a maximum, if you look at it, of these being 2 and 4, a maximum of 7, not a 5. So this can only actually be a 4, 6, or 7. And these two, for example, sum to a minimum of 6. So the other is a maximum of 7 as well. So any of these are a maximum of 7. So these are all from only 2, 4, 6, 7, it would seem. And I bet I can solve here, because I can't use both 6 and 7. And I'd better use a 2, right? If I don't use a 2, I feel like I'm reverse engineering a killer calculator here. If I don't use a 2, then 4 plus 6 plus 7 is much too big. So I better use a 2. If I don't use a 4, then 2, 6, 7 is also too big. So I also use a 4. And if I use a 2 and a 4, those add to 6. And therefore, I need a 7 to finish it. So I can't use a 6. So these are 2, 4, 7 exactly. I feel I have demonstrated. So that means the rest of the stuff in the box is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you'd like, those aren't 9. That's not 3. This isn't 1 or 3. These aren't 1 either. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a 6, 9 pair in box 1. So this is where the 9 is nullified, points out Tall Cat. And so these are just a triple of... Oh, well, that's just a 5, actually. I don't even have to say it's a pair. It's just where the 5 goes. And then these are a 7, 8 pair, it would seem. Oh, and in fact, it's a resolved 7, 8 pair even. So those are not 8. These are not 8. That one's not 9 either, because we know the 9 negator is up here. So this is a 5. It's a 9. It's an 8. Oh, the row 1 sum. Oh, I completely forgot about the row 1 sum. Yeah, if this is a negator, then the row 1 sum can't work. So this can't be the negator. This has to be the negator. And so this is the 6. And that makes that a 1, 2, 4. And that is my negator 9. Oh, I forgot about the 3. Right. There's a 3. Did you know there's a 3? Because I didn't. Yes, there's a 3 over here. So if this is a 6, then that sums to too many. So this is the nullifier owing to the 3. Dang, 3s. Yeah, it would, in fact, wasn't suspicious at all, because it added to exactly 13 with that if I ignored the 3 the other way. So that's the 9, that's the 6. No 9 there, so those are a 6, 8 pair, so those aren't 6. And that is the 9. There's my 2, 4, 7. Okay, let's just ask Mark to come in and fill these in. Okay, Mark, these are not 2 or 6 or 8. They are only 4, 5, and 7, so there's definitely a 5 in them. These aren't 2. Oh, it's being pointed out I can actually still do the sum, which is to say that those sum to 6, so this needs to be a 7, and that will make my life even better, which it surely will. So those aren't 4, those are 7, 8. That's not a 7. Okay. Right, the column 2 sum, Tallcat points out. Make that a 1 and a 2. 2, 7, and 4 already add to 13, thankfully. So that is promising. Let's see. see. If I look at where 9 goes in this box, unknown. Column 4, it's being pointed out, actually we can do, because these 3 digits have to add to 6. And so that is a 2 and a 4, and these are a 1-3 pair. I should fill in what these are, which are a 2 and an 8. Oh, and in row 4, I also have the same thing. So these are from 1, 2, 3. So this is 7, 8, or 9. I know one of these is a 3. So I know one of these is a 3. So there's definitely a 3 in my sum, for whatever it's worth. Let's see. So I know one of these two is 9, I suppose. In fact, actually, if I look at this box, I actually know one of these 2 cells is 9. And I think putting a 9 here is going to cause problems immediately. So it's not that one. So I think this just is a 9, owing to the fact that I can't put another 9 in yellow. And so that's a 9 as well, continuing the Sudokuage. I think that one could be a 9. But we'll go ahead and move that over. Okay. These 3 cells sum to at most 9. So this digit here is at least a 4. I guess that's not super useful. I guess I could be more specific. These digits sum to between 6 and 9. So this digit is between 4 and 7. Still not incredibly impressive as deductions go. Yeah, we can even rule out 4 if we want, because a 4 would go with a 2, 3, 4. We can look at row 4 now. These sum to at least 6, so that's at most 7. These sum to at least 8. So these are at most 5 in sum. And so there can't be a 4 on them. These are a 1, 2 pair. And now these do sum to 6, so this is a 7, which places the 3 up here as well. 9 and 1 and a 7 now. 2 and 1 and 3. 3 and 6 and 1. Let's see. This has become a 2, it would seem. Okay, so just to fill these in, we've already got a 1. We need a 2. We need a 3. We need a 4. We've already got a 5. We need a 6. We've got a 7. We need an 8. So this is 2, 3, or 8. This is not 2, 4, or 8. This is not 3. This is not 2 or 3. Okay, so there we go. These are a 2, 4, 6, 8 quadruple, meaning that this is the only place the 3 can go in a negator. Let us make that excessive. Go ahead and fill those in. Okay, one of these is a 6 for sure. Those align with these 6s, which mean that this is not a 6. So now we get to do the crazy negator thing. One of these is a 6. But if it's that one, there's no 6 in row 6. So therefore, that is the 6. So that isn't. These are a pair of 4 and 5, which makes that an 8, which makes that a 2, which makes that a 4. Makes that an 8. Like that. Okay, this box is sum now. Let's see. Those sum to 4. So I need these two to sum to 9 without being 1, 8, 3, 6, or 4, 5. So these are 2, 7. Which looks across and gives me the 1 and the 2. Like that. This is a known digit. It is a 6. That's a 4 and a 6. So that is an 8 and a 6. So let's fill in. Actually, let's just mark up as much as we can before contemplating further nature and purpose of reality. Okay, this has now become a naked 6 and a 1. So that's a 5. Okay, that has become a 6. So not a 5. Okay, so row by row, that row is good. Okay, so this row is not good yet. Oh, right, sorry. There's another digit here. Thank you. Okay, this can't be in because it would make it sum to too much. And therefore, the only digits are these, so therefore this is a 7. It seems like every time we use math, we put in a 7. I don't know if that is a secret of 13 killer sums or something. Okay. That gives me the 2 and the 7 over there. Okay, and so now in this row, 5 plus 8 would do it. Or 5 plus... If I do 5, if I try and add this digit, then I need these two to sum to 8 as 4 and 4. That's not going to work. So the only other possible connection is that one, which does indeed make this an 8. And I think now we're done, right? So 4, 6, 4, 8, 4, and 5. Very nice. I should clear off the X's. Yeah, I liked that one a lot. It wouldn't be my sentimental favorite, which I think would go to the Shocky Cage one, but I did really enjoy this one. Oops, boop, 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 boop. Oh, I forgot the lore. Oh, no. It will only take me 12 more puzzles to get it. I am no longer surprised that Finks quickly spotted what needed to be done in this maze, wasting no time in visiting all the rows, columns, and boxes to achieve every total of 13. What did come as a surprise, however, was that Finks ate half of her cupcake today. The first time this has happened. Oh no. Oh no. Please tell me Finks isn't getting sick. I don't want to find out that Finks has been damaged by the teleporters. This lore is getting much more dark than I was anticipating. This seems like when someone coughs in a movie or something. There we go. Okay, I think I got rid of all the X's, right? So yes, as noted, I will... oh, nope, I didn't. Aha. I will do the rest of these later, but I'm going to wait a bit since the later ones have been done on Cracking the Cryptic more recently. So I will give it a bit more space for people to forget a little bit more about those solves if they would like to enjoy me watching them. But I will binge the rest of them at some point. Although I'm told there will be a season 3. So I will look forward to that as well. Maybe I can beat Simon to one of them in season 3. Maybe that can be my goal. So yeah, so it probably won't be too long till I say, okay, I'm going to do another Rat Run Day, which is, because these puzzles have been super cute. I do want to play around with the idea I suggested that this puzzle made me think of. Uh, because I liked the idea of saying there's two sums of cage. Oh, sorry, it wasn't this one. It was this one. Sorry, this I think is my favorite of the whole series so far. But the idea I had that I might try and set or might do a setting stream or whatever. The idea I had was to have a grid like this where there's two cage totals, and say that that one of the cage totals corresponds to every visited cage, and one of the cage totals corresponds to every unvisited cage. And that seems like it would lead to fun deductions trying to chase the poor little Finks through the thing. I'm curious, in Tall Cat's puzzles, does Tall Cat have lore? I must check out Tall Cat's puzzle and learn the name of Tall Cat's rat. Let's find out. Because I saw that Tall Cat had posted one of these. Let's see. A rat run homage. Mus the mouse. So it's mouse minus O and E. What's the word play? I feel like there's going to be an O and an E somewhere else or something. Oh, it's because mus is the Latin name for mouse. Sorry, I thought we were going a cryptic crossword direction, but we're going a Latin names for things direction. Have you worked with lab rats before, Tall Cat? Is that how you became a Tall Cat? Let's see. Felix the cat must reach the escape hole. Excellent. Okay. A little bit of lore. Very nice. Okay, well, I will look forward to doing that one as well in time. Excellent. Anyway, I've had a lot of fun with these. I hope you have had fun with these as well. We will return to a more regular stream next Friday, to the extent that anything I do is regular. But for now, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Do please give the stream a like if you have not yet given the stream a like. It is greatly appreciated. And also, if you enjoy the stream and you want to support us financially, we do greatly appreciate all of the people who do. You can go on YouTube and click the little $ button and look through the options for various ways to do that. We greatly appreciate it. And last but not least, let me thank the Turbines, Daniel, David, Franco, Nell, Nordy, and Plonktime, many of whom I saw around today, actually. So thank you, everyone. I'll see you all real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.